we have a tendency not to use good guys and bad guys because good guys will allow men like myself to separate ourselves from then the men we would define as bad guys. It allows us to really separate ourselves from them,
Mhm.
right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
yes, these men are doing things that are inappropriate without a doubt. But if I call them bad guys and we're over here as good guys, then it's more like the problem is them and we have really nothing to do with that.
Okay.
So for us, it's really about all men. You have men who are perpetrating harm, but the collective socialization of manhood, how we're collectively taught what it means to be a man, that man box, we're all taught within that box. We're all taught based on that collective socialization. Some of us have learned quicker than others, maybe with the support of parents and other people in our lives, to sort through it and understand it. But many of us are just on remote control.
Mm-hmm.
We're all taught various degrees to have less value in women, to view women as the property of men, to view women as objects, particularly sexual objects. And then you have men that take that to a place of violence for a whole host of reasons. And then you have other men who don't take it to the place of violence, but we stay on the sidelines, right? We have that thinking in us, and that thinking that's also in us, or that teaching that's also in us, lends to silence us, lends to allow us to tolerate, lends to allow us to look away, lends to allow us to actually participate, but not to a point of what our society would define as illegal. So I could be coaching boys and using stop playing like a girl, stop playing like, and all kinds of derogatory language and terms that we use for women. And I'm using that to motivate boys to
Mhm.
play better, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
someone can say, well, that was inappropriate, that was too far, or whatever, whatever, but it wasn't illegal. I didn't break the law, right? So we have to teach men that, well, every time you tell a boy to stop playing like a girl, well, what are you actually saying about girls, right? What's the
Mhm.
message there? Helping men to understand how to be part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. Helping men to understand there's no gray area where I can just hang out at. No, you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. So again, no big I's, no little U's, no good guys, no bad guys when we're doing this work. Of course, you have men who are bad doing inappropriate things, breaking the law, and you have men who are not breaking the law, but we're all, you know, indoctrinated. We're all taught the same socialization and we act it out in different ways. And at the end of the day, men who perpetrate violence against women and girls are depending on we, the majority of men, to continue doing what we're doing, right?
Mhm.
Which is supporting them through silence, which is supporting them by not educating this next generation of boys to men to think different, to act different, to behave different. It should make perfect sense to we as men. We live in a society that continues to have an epidemic of violence against women and girls. We live in a society where men are in crisis themselves, right? How
Yes.
is it? How is it? It's a fair question to ask. How is it that a minority of men can perpetrate an epidemic of violence against women and girls
Mhm.
in the presence of all of us men who far outnumber them? Two-thirds of us would never do what they do, far
Mhm.
outnumber them. How does that happen on our watch? That's a fair
Mm-hmm.
question for us to grapple with as men. And why? And why do we have this epidemic of loneliness amongst men? Men are in
Mhm.
crisis. We're in a health crisis, you know, physical health, mental health. We're in crisis. What is that about? that we and men are just standing by and continue to be on remote control and just doing tradition, doing tradition, doing tradition. So it's not about good guys and bad guys. It's about us, right? And whether you're going to just stay on the sidelines or whether you're going to get involved in this effort.